Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So if you have the misfortune of being on Twitter, you probably will have seen this or will have seen comments raging against this or will have seen me raging against it on my Twitter. So I usually don't put trigger warnings because my entire channel would need a trigger warning. But in this particular case, there's going to be some footage. Now in the footage, you do not see any children being abused or anything like that, but you will hear a child in distress crying and then someone speaking. So if that's too much for you, leave now, but there's nothing graphic happening there. It's distressing, angering, saddening. There was a tweet that got a lot of attention, and in the tweet there was video footage of a woman being angry at her child because her child apparently played with her Jeffree Star alien palette, which is now being discontinued. Her child got to the palette and messed around with it, essentially. I'll insert that clip here.
My 2-year-old just got her ass beat. Because no matter how many times I tell her not to mess with my makeup, she never fucking listens. I put it away to where she can't find it. And what does she do? She finds it. At this point, I need a freaking safe with a combination on it to keep her out of it. She has ruined 2 palettes of mine, and one of them is being discontinued. 1 second. My hand hurts. Because I just beat the crap out of her.
So in order to justify herself, this woman then tweeted saying, "My hand was hurting long before I even started filming. She was crying because she got popped, put in her crib, and got her Ducky's iPad taken from her. This happened because she repeatedly didn't listen to me. Yes, I was upset about the palette." And then there's footage that, in my opinion, doesn't really prove much. I'll include that here.
2 palettes of mine, and one of them is being discontinued. 1 second. My hand hurts. Because I just beat the crap out of her. Not literally. Did I tell her a lesson? Because I'll be damned if she's going to all over me. I know a lot of parents might not agree with me, but I don't normally spank my child. Unless I absolutely have to, and usually it's just a pop. And it barely hurts. She cries for like 5 seconds.
So before we continue, I wanted to do a little bit of research into who this woman was. So her name is Michelle Grace. She has a channel with, as when I'm filming, 845 subscribers. A lot of her videos are spiritual or witchy, like there's a supplies haul, there's a crystal haul, there's Meet My Haunted Doll. I saw a couple of makeup videos. Then in the about section it says, "A little about me. I'm 22 years old and a single mother of a beautiful baby girl. I love photography and video production. Something about the editing process soothes me. Please hit the subscribe button to see new videos from me when I remember to upload." So that's just a kind of basic idea of what we're dealing with. As of my calculations, her daughter is 2 and I think she turns 3 in the June time, I believe. After posting this kind of explanation tweet that, like I said, I don't think explains anything, she followed it up by saying, "She's a lot smarter than you guys think. She's the most intelligent toddler I know. She knows right from wrong. So yes, she knew what she was doing. She also knows that she's not to touch my makeup unless she asks and I help. When I got up and came back, I was getting milk, giving the iPad back and comforting her. Yes, I spank and pop, but only when she will not listen to my guidance. I've explained myself already, but now you've seen the rest of that part of the video. The rest was honestly me going on about how broke and sad I was." So a lot of people were concerned, not only because of the child that sounded distressed in the background and a mother who seemingly just admitted really to hitting her child, but because she has used the term pop in particular, which can be defined as to strike or knock sharply. So it's not a slap slap, it's not a spank, it's a different category. Now, I'm not about hitting children in any way, even spanking, I just don't really see positive outcomes coming from that. That being said, here the debate isn't really about is spanking kids good or bad, because this seems to be completely separate from that in a way, because popping seems to be like a more aggressive, different thing entirely. But in her tweet, something that Michelle Grace thought was a really great point, which plot twist, it isn't, was saying that her daughter is the smartest toddler she knows and that she knows right from wrong. Had this been an older child, that would be a discussion to be had whether they know right from wrong. For a 2-year-old, I just don't really think that's entirely plausible. I really don't think a 2-year-old is thinking about your palate being like, I know what the right thing to do is, but shall I give in and do the wrong thing? I don't think it's that deep, and I don't think it's fair to hold them accountable to that extent. You can tell your kid, please don't touch this, and then do what most other adults do, is to put something on an extremely high shelf that they can't reach, or put like one of those child locks. There are multiple ways to kind of secure certain areas from being opened by a child, such as drawers with like cutlery and stuff like that. I think the thing that also concerned a lot of people is that she seemed to be projecting this kind of knowledge onto her daughter, like her daughter magically knows a lot more than every other toddler, and she very well might be a smart toddler, but I still don't think you could say, oh, she knows right from wrong, and so when she decided to do this, she knew what she was doing. I think this is all bullshit, frankly. Even if she was the smartest 2-year-old in the existence of the planet, it's still not appropriate to pop her. And it seemed like the big point was that the palette is effectively now a limited edition palette because it's being discontinued. So it just seemed like the palette was this really massive thing. Thinking about all the possibilities and all the different parameters, I still don't understand how someone can get that mad over makeup. Because Michelle showed a certain amount of questionable behavior, I started digging. Now, some tweets were sent to me, some I found on Twitter, and some I was digging through myself. So I found one from earlier in February that says, my kid crawled in her bed, tucked herself, and fell asleep, all while I was upstairs with the dog. I guess she was tired. I'm gonna preface this now. Some of these tweets I don't think seem super incriminating. That being said, all the things she's tweeted before automatically have a negative connotation to them because of what we know now. Does that make sense? So when I show you these tweets, I'm not trying to claim that these tweets are proof that she's done X or Y. I'm just trying to paint a picture of other things she's said and why they may be concerning in conjunction with the evidence we have now. To me, frankly, it seems like there's kind of a pattern of her not really paying attention to her child. I don't know if it's to the point of neglect, because clearly I'm not there. I can't see what's going on. But to leave a 2-year-old kid by themselves when you're a single mother and it doesn't seem like anyone else is home based on this tweet, it seems a little weird to me. I don't understand. And I'm not saying a mother can be present with her child every second, because there are moments where you have to do things, and I get that, but you'd think that she'd still keep a closer eye on her child, especially if it's later or if the child is tired. You'd think that she'd check on her child to make sure that they're okay and they didn't like eat something that they could choke on, or, you know, children like that have sticky hands, like they hold and touch everything. So then there was another tweet that said, here I am thinking Aria had fallen asleep on the floor, but nah, she destroyed my deodorant. And again, we have this pattern of, it seems, of either not paying attention or of just letting her daughter run around and then being mad when her daughter does something, but at the same time, you're the one who's not supervising her. I suppose you can be upset that something was destroyed, but at the same time, if you were properly supervising her, she probably wouldn't destroy as many things because you're around to make sure that doesn't happen. So then there was another tweet from November 3rd in 2019 that said, oh my god, if Aria doesn't stop, and then an angry face emoji. Some of this I don't think is necessarily incriminating, as it could be seen as venting. Like, it really could be seen as a mother who's frustrated. At the same time, if she has no problem with popping her child, it becomes a little eerie to read these, because if she loses her shit over a palette, who knows what else gets under her skin. There's another post that is from September 2019 2019 and it says, I need a fucking vacation away from my family, sadly away from Aria. I need to clear my mind. I'm on the verge of a mental breakdown. Parents need breaks here and there, I think, especially being a single parent, since I was raised by one, is heavy and you need breaks and you need to take time to yourself. That being said, there's no excuse for acting poorly towards your child because you need a break. And if she needed a break or a vacation, she needed to take it. I don't know if she did, but it really seems like there's a pattern of her just being not in a good headspace. Let's just put it that way. And I don't know if that's what's affecting her behavior. Like I said, it's not an excuse, but a lot of these tweets to me read as someone who's struggling, and instead of doing something to help themselves, they're just taking that out on the closest person, which happens to be the daughter in this case. Then there's another tweet. Know why I don't tell guys about Aria? Because every guy who finds out runs, and I'm sick of getting my hopes up and getting let down. Guys fucking suck. As much as I understand the sentiment that some people don't want to get in a relationship with people who have children, which is understandable and fair enough, I also just felt weird about this tweet. I don't know, I didn't like how it sounded. I couldn't imagine hearing or seeing that my mom tweeted something about me, essentially not blaming directly me, but being like, oh my god, my daughter, anytime someone hears about her, they don't want to have anything to do with me. It just seems, I don't know, I didn't like that. Then there was another tweet from September 7th, 2019. Note how a lot of these tweets are close to each other. So there was a lot in February of 2020. There were quite a few now in September of 2019. They all seem to happen quite close to each other. So I don't know if these are particular periods of frustration or what. It says, if Aria doesn't go to sleep, I will literally lose my shit. This one was probably one of the most alarming ones. Someone come get this kid. She fucking pulled my SD card out of my computer while I was editing. Now I have to fucking start all over again. So again, it seems like irrational anger over something. And as someone who edits a lot, I do know the frustration of when technology doesn't work for you or something happens. It's extremely frustrating. That's all it is. It's frustrating. It doesn't mandate you saying that someone has to take the kid away from you. And it makes me wonder, or what happens if the kid doesn't get taken away from you? This one I would say is actually incriminating compared to the other ones where I said, you know, with context, it really depends. But here it said, here's how I see it. You raise your child how you want to raise them. I pop my 1-year-old. But that's because she's got to learn young. They all do. That's what's wrong with the younger generation nowadays. You do what you need to do. Those that have an issue are irrelevant. The whole concept of hitting a 1-year-old is surreal to me. I don't know what they could do that would, in her mind, deserve that kind of reaction. And a 1-year-old is so small. I just don't know what you think they're gonna understand. And obviously hitting a kid, does this need to be said, is not the move. Obviously not. But trying to get into her headspace, her whole excuse, this whole thing, the narrative has been like, oh, that she needs to learn, she's really smart. But a 1-year-old, what are they gonna learn from you hitting them? They don't understand what the fuck is going on. Even if we go back to the whole concept of children getting spanked. Personally, from my experience, I got spanked a few times when I was a kid, not badly. It was just like a tap when I was throwing my tantrums, and it wasn't ever like painful. It was more like, hey, get your shit together, essentially. And the only people I've ever seen spanked are children who actually understand what you're saying to them. Like, I think I was 6 or 7 probably the first time I got spanked. It's a different situation altogether. The key thing being that at 6 or 7, you understand what the issue is. But like I said, it's not a debate about whether spanking is good or not, but just for context. Whereas here, I just don't understand what she thinks a 1-year-old or 2-year-old daughter is really gonna get from being popped in the face. Like, what does that translate to them? To me, that would make me scared of my parent if I'm that young and they're already putting their hands on me. That also makes me wonder, when the kid is older, does that mean she gets beat harder because she should know better at that point as well? The bottom line here is that if you're so comfortable with your behavior towards your child that you're first of all telling everyone and anyone that you pop your child like it's nothing, and then you're even posting a rant about it, which now is deleted, that makes me question how comfortable you are with that kind of behavior, and why are you comfortable with that kind of behavior? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think should be done. I saw a lot of people saying her child should be taken away. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right into the fan art.